afternoon, everyone. It's Kat Bat from Digital Leopard, and today we've got with us Martin Booth from Leboo Creative Media. Martin, I struggled a little bit with pronouncing the company name, but I know it's got a good story. Could you tell us a little bit about it?
Hello, it's an absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for the invitation. And yeah, my company is called Leboo Media. It's not French. What happened is I've got a daughter whose name starts with L, a daughter whose name starts with E. My surname is Booth. We took off the last two letters, ran them together and came up with Leboo. And much as I'd like to claim I was the creative genius behind it, it was my wife's idea.
Wives are always creative like that.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So has coronavirus affected you in any way in terms of business?
Yeah, it has in a way. I mean, most of my work I've done from home during the time since I relaunched as a copywriter 3 years ago. So I'm used to the idea of working from home. The difference I've found is with clients. Some clients have gone very quiet, naturally, inevitably. Other clients are definitely ramping up the amount of work they're doing. But overall, I can't deny it, things are a little bit quieter. It's a little bit less stable. It's a little bit less lucrative. So you've got to be a little bit more creative, think on your feet, work out new things to do. It's a challenge for the business, but we're not going anywhere. We'll box on, we'll get through it and hopefully come out stronger the other side.
Did you have to adjust your prices to account for people having less money in their budgets?
Absolutely not. I've not changed my prices at all. I actually wrote a piece on LinkedIn saying I think it's a bad idea to raise your prices personally.
Not to raise, sorry, I was asking if you were reducing them rather than raising.
No, I'm doing the same quality of work for the same people, so the prices are the same. Yeah, if someone comes along and they're having a challenging time at the moment, there's always room for negotiation for sure. But what I'm definitely not doing is raising the prices to take advantage of people's desperation to get something online.
Oh no, absolutely. I think the main question that comes up is whether we should be reducing our prices, and I think a lot of people are saying, because they had to move their services online, they are saying that they cannot charge as much as they would in person. But I think the expertise is the same, and I kind of wanted to emphasize that point, and that's why I asked the question.
I think it's a fair question. And like I say, for existing and ongoing clients, I think we've got a good enough relationship that understand the quality of the work they're going to get from me, so they wouldn't expect to be paying less. But like I say, if someone comes along to initiate a relationship, and right now they're having cash flow problems, which obviously you're aware a lot of businesses are, like I say, there's always room for negotiation. It's business. If you want to do business with someone and if you can see it leading to a really good, fruitful, long-term relationship, then of course, there's always wiggle room. I do like a good haggle every now and then.
Fair enough. Okay, so my next question is, what would be your advice to other entrepreneurs?
Are we talking about people setting up business, or are we talking about how my advice in terms of copywriting and getting their message across?
Actually, both answers would be great. I think mainly I was kind of wondering in terms of coronavirus and how to get through those difficult times. But I think, in terms of copywriting and how to approach this, that would be great as well.
Well, I mean, generally, I've had my own consultancy for 6 years. I've been working as a copywriter for 3 years. And my admiration for anybody who starts out as a business person is boundless, because there's no getting away from it. We all know it's tricky, it's challenging, it's immensely rewarding when it comes off and things start being successful. But it's difficult, and particularly in a time like this when, like we say, the economy has gone quiet, it is harder to get clients on board. You have to be a little bit creative, a little bit versatile, agile, nimble, choose your entrepreneurial cliche. And, you need a little bit of resilience and a really large dollop of self-belief that you're going to get through this, that obviously this too shall pass. We're not going to be in lockdown forever. And when we come out of it, there's going to be business to be had and business to be done. And if you can just exist through it and still be there so that you're there to do that business, and that's a real positive. In terms of advice for people getting the message across, which is what I do. I mean, I produce written copy in all kinds of forms for all kinds of businesses. And that's everything from website copy to blogs to articles, white papers, award submissions, emails, you name it, I'll write it for you. And the thing my main piece of advice I would say is when you're writing about your business, it's very tempting to write about what you do and how great you are at it, because that's the message we all want to get across. But the thing I always recommend, the first thing you should get across is that you understand the benefit you're going to bring, how you are going to make someone's life better, that how you're going to take the weight off someone, ease their pain, and move them from point A to point B. If you can get that across as your initial message, saying, hey, I know why you're here, I know why you're looking at my business. Once you establish that initial emotional connection, then you can roll out all the criteria which make you uniquely and perfectly placed to answer that need, to ease that pain.
Yeah.
So in terms of messaging, that's always my sort of number one tip. But to go back to your original question, there's no getting away from it. It's tough, and it's tough running, launching, getting a business off the ground anyway. And at times like this, it's particularly tough. I don't think I doubt anyone's under any illusions about that at the moment.
Absolutely. But I do think the right kind of messaging could be make or break for your business now as well. It's like you don't really want to be seen as doing hard sell online. You want to you want to make sure that you are there to help others, as you said, and see how you can help them with their pain.
To be fair, Kat, I think that's an eternal message. Yes, particularly during a time like this when people are under a lot of pressure, it's a good message to emphasize. But at all times, you want to say, look, whatever it is that you produce, create, whatever services and products that you deliver to the world, there's other people doing it. What makes yours different? Why should they come to you? Well, if you can show that you understand why they're coming to you and say, look, you're here because, and like I say, make an emotional connection, because in the end, business decisions are emotional. And if you can make that connection, then you can roll out the credentials. You can roll out your experience, your qualifications, your certifications. But the first thing you've got to do is make sure you're on exactly the same wavelength as the people you're talking to, your potential audience.
As they say, people do business with people. So
yes, they do.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for that, Martin. It's been a really useful advice. Is there anything that you would like to add?
On any subjects in particular? Because I can talk all day.
All right, then I've got one more question. Have you got any books or other resources that you would like to recommend? I think now a lot of people are focusing on learning, on, some of them are furloughed and they want to use the time productively and learn some new skills. Or what would you advise?
I don't have a business manual that I look at as the Bible. I read, quite a few business books, and one thing
I wish there was one.
Yeah, so do I. And I wish they were a bit more fun to read. I don't miss to sound flippant, but quite often they're quite po-faced. It's do this and then do that. Whereas business can be fun. When you have a good day in business, it's intoxicating. It's euphoric.
I miss those days now.
But in terms of where I get my advice from, and I should hold out for them to give me some money to endorse them, but I'm going to say it anyway. I'm a big fan of LinkedIn. I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn. I've got a lot of connections on there, and there are a lot of people there with really good advice. At the same time, before anyone says it, there's a lot of people in there with less good advice. But every so often, when you sift through the content there, you'll find something that will really make you think and really change your mind. I'll give you an example. One of my pals on there today, we were talking about business plans. And start of 2019, for the first time, I've got fairly clear ideas about where I wanted my business to go, but I actually sat down and wrote a 2-pager saying, right, here are my values. This is what I want to do in 2019. This is where I want to get to. And just the simple act of writing it down really crystallized it in my mind. And I did go back at the end of 2019, and I'm delighted to say I was putting ticks next to all the things I wanted to do, which was great. But I'm sure that, like I say, just writing it down really made it much more clear. Now, the suggestion now is, given everything that's happened, that coronavirus has come along and thrown things up in the air, maybe it's a good idea to go back, because I did a business plan again at the start of 2020, which is, well, it's only 3.5 months ago, but it feels like 3.5 years. But it's probably a good time to go back and revise that, because there are undoubtedly things I should be doing with my business, not just as a copywriter, but looking at other ways in which I can deliver benefits to customers, and things like workshops and webinars, giving people advice on how to get their messaging as good as it can be. And maybe that's something I should be looking at, and I should be crystallizing it in a business plan, you know, during one of the quiet days that are undeniably going to come up in the next few weeks.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. That's been fantastic advice. Thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you very much.